Mexico has heard again its young people. Now it must listen to migrants. Young people in Mexico have already done their part. On November 15th and November 20th, thousands marched in cities across the country. They marched peacefully and with a very clear message. They want a safer, more just Mexico. For years, we kept saying if young people would participate, everything would change. Well, today they are participating. Former President Vicente Fox was very active, encouraging young people to join peacefully. And from the United States, President Donald Trump said he was not happy with Mexico, reacting and reflecting the global concern about the violence that these young people highlighted as the reason for marching. At the end of the march in León, Guanajuato, a university student named Pedro Ramirez summed up the feeling of an entire generation. He said, "We want a Mexico that takes us seriously." And then he added something that captures, I think, this moment perfectly. He said, "They said that if we participated, everything would change. We participated. Now will they listen to us? Will they include us?" While the marches were happening in Mexico, I was in Austin, Texas. I met with Mexican men and women who were following everything from afar. They too have heard for decades that if Mexicans abroad voted, they would change Mexico. But participating from outside the country, is not that easy. In Austin, a simple and direct message emerged for our institutions in Mexico. INE, Electoral Institute. We need an accessible process, not an obstacle course. And the urgency is real. The 2027 elections and then the 2030 elections are right around the corner. Millions of Mexicans abroad do not want to be excluded. Again, registering and voting from abroad continues to be slow and complicated, and the restrictions that political parties face, restrictions that limit their ability to communicate with Mexicans abroad, make it very difficult for people to vote with enough information. The diaspora wants to participate. What it needs is a clear and functional system. Political parties also have unfinished work. The National Action Party, El PAN, was reminded by these immigrants that they have been waiting now for decades to be able to register electronically in the party, which is essential to be able to participate in internal decisions. There has been progress, like the creation of 50 PAN committees in the United States, but the community is asking for more, clearer rules and true integration. A new party called Somos Mexico has drawn interest among immigrants, but they ask a very legitimate question. If we are Mexicans that are recognized by the Constitution, why can't we hold, for example, an assembly here in the United States for Somos Mexico? The social and demographic reality of the country demands an update. We have an example from Arizona, I believe. In the most recent governor's race, the candidate who won was the one supported by young voters and by Latinos, many of them of Mexican descent, and some even with dual nationality. That support was decisive. The lesson is clear. It's not enough to have accessible channels. What's needed is real inclusion, full recognition, and genuine participation. So here is the central question. Will Mexico listen to the young people and the migrants who already raised their hand, or will it leave them out once again? Mexico is at an important moment. Generation Z has already shown up, and the Mexican diaspora, people who didn't leave out of lack of interest, but out of necessity, want to participate as well. They already do so with their work, their commitment, and the remittances that sustain millions of families. And once again, the words of Pedro Ramirez in León, Guanajuato say it all. We want a Mexico that takes us seriously. because we've already shown that we're ready. Thank you very much. Please read my full article in El Sol de México. Gracias.